Good morning, everybody. Awesome. So, what we're going to get into today is the history of mindfulness. Where did it come from? So, without further ado, mindfulness is pretty much an abstraction from Buddhism. But the act of mindfulness itself is innate to all meditative lineages, right? And it's innate to the like animal experience, right? This bottom up focus, it manifests in the base of the brain, a brain that we share across the animal kingdom, not just mammals, but reptiles and birds. All species with brains seem more than likely have this ability to be mindful, just not aware of the mindfulness. But anywho, so mindfulness itself is innate to all meditative practices, but the mindfulness that we know, the mindfulness that is being popularized through the media mainly as a stress reduction tool, is an extraction of Buddhism. And so it comes from, it's the seventh of 8 steps of his eightfold path. This is the step of Sati. Sat means truthfulness. What I find is when we look into the history of meditative practices, we actually start to simultaneously tap into their deeper purpose. And so the word described for the step of Buddha's eightfold path, Sati, is a clue to the real meaning behind mindfulness and, being non-judgmentally aware of the present moment on purpose. So the eightfold path, just a quick like summary of this. The eightfold path is the 4th noble truth of Buddha's noble truths. And so the 4 noble truths are: there is suffering, there is a solution. There is suffering. What's the cause of suffering? There is a solution to suffering and the solution to suffering. And the solution to suffering are these 8 steps. Sati is the 7th. Jnana is the 8th. And jnana is focus, attention, meditation. Jnana is the step in which a practitioner takes to touch awakening, to touch nirvana. And so I guess the big point of today's lesson is mindfulness is a step in the process towards nirvana. And nirvana is the awakening to life's true nature and your true nature. And what we can sort of extract from this is mindfulness. This act of sitting here openly, non-judgmentally, and on purpose is the basis, is the foundation from which we can start to develop, supreme levels of focus. And so other styles, other practices flip this, that they practice extreme focus first, and then they sort of relinquish that control and enter mindfulness. For the Buddha, the opposite is true. Learn mindfulness first. And then when you're ready, that ability to focus supremely will emerge. And what is the point? Again, for true wisdom, again, a glimpsing into life's essential nature. And Thich Nhat Hanh spoke of this when he looked into the tree and saw the sun and the clouds and the earth. These visions of the world that just innately feel more meaningful that we touch in our practice. These are glimmerings of that. And so, in terms of our practice today, what I think would be cool is just to hold that gently in your mind. What is it that's actually happening here, at least traditionally? We are looking for truth. Deep, deep, deep truth. This goes beyond culture, beyond our current chapter of history. This is like a timeless thing. And so now mindfulness becomes very, very profound, prolific. Okay, cool. At the same time, super easy. Just sit there, listen, strike joy. And from time to time, I'll remind you or remind your intellect. Sati, truthfulness, true nature. Maybe that's there also. Okay, comfortable position. And so your seat, the moment you sort of settle into your shape, should feel like going home, opening the door, smelling the familiar smell, seeing the familiar layout. Good to be back. Let's just take a couple moments, 3 minutes, to relax the body. Scan from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. Just relax tension. And in line with the simplicity of this work, as you relax, repeat in the mind, I am relaxing. I am aware that I am relaxing. 3 minutes starts now. Among other things, I am aware that I am relaxing. You are available to every part of this moment. And in that intimacy and in that joy, you also happen to be relaxing. Okay, slow down the breath. Let the mind wander like the happy bumblebee from flower to flower to flower, inside to outside. This sound to that sound to this thought. Be happy for the mind as it lives through its nature. And be with the moment openly. So there is a feeling of literal opening, a feeling of petals blooming, a feeling of ripples reaching out, expanding. And so in this openness, now strike joy. Because life is beautiful and life is joyous. Joy for the bumblebee, joy for the flower, joy for awareness of the dance. Stay here 5 minutes. And so you're here now. Feel that. On purpose, non-judgmentally. You're simply hearing, you're simply sitting, you're simply being. Being with what? With life. So the consequence of this open presence is intimacy with the moment that is arising, as it is arising. And that is the fertilizer for joy. A recognition of that relationship. So be here and be joyous. Every breath. Slow down the breath. Mindfulness is the eighth or the seventh action of Buddha's Eightfold Path. Buddhism is a practice committed to resolving the problem of human suffering. Mindfulness is an integral aspect of that journey. This being here, this being intimate, and this striking of joy. What if joy can't be struck? Then you are not here, because there is always a reason to be joyous. The joy of the blue sky, the joy of your breath, the joy of feeling your body, the joy of a new day, the joy of a child's smile, the joy of a butterfly flying by, the joy of a bird singing. There is always a reason to strike joy. And so wherever the bumblebee of the mind lands, again, happy to be available to this. Happy to be present to this, in this moment, intimate to this. That is the practice. Whether it is a thought, a memory, a sensory experience, positive or negative, I am available to this. Slow down the breath and appreciate there is a level of commitment involved in being open and here. And so the history of this practice informs us of the higher purpose, which is the discovery of truth, true nature. And it tells us that this ability to be mindful is a stepping stone to supreme focus. This effort you're applying yourself to is the basis of controlling human attention. And in a world where our attention is being manipulated by technology, this skill, this foundational skill, will prove to be more and more significant. So for the last few minutes, appreciate that that's what you are doing. You are supporting the foundation from which you can control attention by being openly here, non-judgmentally present. So before we hit the bullseye of supreme focus, Jian, we hit the target of the endless and perpetual moment, the now. And this is Sati. You can't miss the now. You can't get distracted away from the now. The basis of this supreme focus is simply being aware that the moment is something to focus on. And as you take the time to actually focus on the moment you are living with and through, you find in this intimacy, it is joyous. Slow the breath. Increase your sincerity for your work. Increase your commitment and availability to your practice. Last couple minutes. Three more breaths. Open presence, striking joy. All right, with an inhale, open your eyes.